Hey guys, what's up? It's Ripe again, back with more entitled Karen stories. In this video, a far overreaching entitled psycho Karen polices the neighborhood and tells everyone what and what not to do. One time she gets extremely upset at me working in my garden while being shirtless. She ends up assaulting me and then wants me arrested after I defend myself. Here is what happened. The first one starts like this. I owned a small property, nothing special, just a foot in the door that I could live in and then exchange for something bigger when I had a little bit more money saved up. I fully intend to be living in a mansion by the time I retire. You may have guessed already, but my particular breed of Karen was a self-entitled neighbor. Not to be confused with the self-entitled mom or the self-entitled shopper. I knew I had a Karen on my hands a couple days after I moved into the neighborhood. This was not a gated community or one of those streets where you have to follow very strict rules to keep up appearances. It was a normal run-of-the-mill house on a normal run-of-the-mill road. In the midst of unpacking and organizing boxes, I get a knock on the door. As naive as I was, I thought it was just more neighbors welcoming me to the street. At this point, I had several casseroles, pasta bakes and brownies to get through. When I answered the door, Karen stood before me in all her swept hair splendor. I remember thinking something along the lines of, "Oh, thank God, she does not have yet another dish of some food I'm not gonna eat." I did devour that brownie though. "Oh, hello, welcome to the neighborhood," she said. I did not even get a chance to say a single word. "I couldn't help but noticing that your for sale sign is still up. I think you need to bring that down already. It's confusing people." It's a fair statement, but I didn't see anyone, and why would it bother her? Were people coming to her directly, asking her about the house? Well, they could be, I didn't know. No worries, I will sort it out right away. See that you do. And with that remark, her and her Bob wander off down my path. This was my first encounter with a Karen, and I didn't know what the proper etiquette was for dealing with them, so I figured I was in the wrong and went and sorted out the problem. If only I knew that I had shown weakness in front of a wild Karen. Things were going fine, I would get constant reminders from Karen about my bins needing to go out the night before, and normally I would put them out when I go get the morning paper, but Karen was very insistent that I need to put them out the night before. There was other things too, simple things that could seem like it was just someone trying to help, but in a really annoying way that feels more like they are being condescending. Like, I know when my lawn needs mowing, Karen. I don't care that there are cats smiling about my porch, Karen. If I don't want to spool up my garden hose, I don't have to, Karen. A moment came where I was pushed over the edge and I realized I had a full-blown Karen on my hands. The driveway of the house was long enough to fit a car, but not long enough to be able to open the garage door at the same time. So while I was packing some things away in preparation for a garage sale once I got enough junk together, I had to pull the car forward a little bit, which meant the front wheels were on the pavement, but only barely. I'm moving boxes in, and when I came out of the garage, I see Karen tutting at my car. Thinking there was something genuinely wrong, I ask her what is up. The situation went from 0 to 60 in less time it took Superman to get changed. She ranted that I have a driveway and my car should not be parked on a public pavement where pedestrians have right of way. I honestly did not think she was being serious, so I tried to laugh it off. Anyone with experience dealing with a Karen will tell you, never bloody laugh at them. It's like adding gasoline to the fire. She comes right up to my face and starts jabbing me in the chest and actually threatening me with calling the police. I honestly don't know how she thought that would help. There was a greater chance that she is going to get carted away for wasting police time. Not wanting the hassle and being done anyway, I apologized and told her I was gonna sort it out now. She stood there and watched me like a hawk as I closed the garage door, got in my car and reversed it back 6 inches. She did not go away until she was satisfied that I was in the house and done. Like, I was gonna come back out once she had gone and moved the car forward again. I was getting quite irate with this woman and the best is yet to come. During the spring and summer, I like to get out into the garden. I don't pretend to have a green thumb, but I do like to keep my yard presentable and nice. Somewhere I can relax with some beers and listen to the game on the radio. Yes, I know it's weird, but some of us like that. So anyway, new house, new garden, new spring, and I am in the mood. It is nice and warm, got some cool ones in the cooler, spade and fork in hand, let's do this. I am trimming the verge, tiling the soil of the flower beds, pulling up weeds and creating a little mulch pile for future plants. Being in the end of spring, it gets nice and toasty, and before long I am gardening with my top off, getting mud everywhere and generally enjoying my time in the garden. "Hey you, get your shirt back on! None of us want to see that!" I hear a horrible grating screech from over the fence. I cannot see who it is, but I know it is Karen. "I'm sorry?" I say. "And so you should be. It's disgusting. Go put a shirt on." "Well no, it's hot and I'm in my own garden. How are you even seeing me?" "I was up in my bedroom and I look out the window and see your horrid display of nudity. Go put a shirt on." This goes on for a little while and I carry on doing my gardening, all the while calling out over the fence. It goes quiet after about 20 minutes I think, and I am hoping that that was the end of it. Oh, how wrong I was. I hear my fence open and close and I wonder who is coming into my garden. I'm not expecting anyone I know round today. When I go to look, Karen is coming up my garden path. Her face is bloody red. "Put a shirt on now!" She roars at me and raises a claw hammer above her head. I don't know if she was actually gonna hit me with the damn thing, but I was not about ready to wait and see. The second that thing comes up above her head, I react without thinking and clout her in the face. It's like that scene in Walking Dead when that dude reveals that he wasn't on some world-saving special mission and my man Michael Cutlitz knocks his ass out, though it was less dramatic. While she was out cold on the floor, I call the police and have her carted away. She came too long before the police got there, and my word, she was pissed. She went off to call the police too. I told her they were already on their way and she stammered like crazy, not knowing what to do. I pressed charges for assault with a deadly weapon and trespass. She ended up with trespass and carrying a deadly weapon with intent. She spent a couple of weeks in jail for carrying and then immediately was put on public service for something ridiculous like 125 hours. The strange thing is, I don't know if they are related, soon after she finished her public service, she moved away. I guess she did not like having a neighbor that told her to piss off. And yeah, Ripe Stars, this is something I noticed in these entitled people stories. Many times these Karens are not actually getting used to being told off. They think that they can say and do about anything to anyone and not get any repercussions. So if you're faced with such an entitled Karen, just stand up for yourself and be strong. Anyway, the next one is titled "When You Have to Date the Customer", posted by user LuckyDevil92up6 on our own subreddit. So this is another story from the world of customer service and Burger King. So our characters are myself, my coworker who I will call Barbie, and the villain of this piece, Jackass. Now let me start by saying that I am fine with people who can break the script on customer service on either side, and I'm all for looking for love wherever you want. But you know that when she says no, she means it. Also, this guy was so creepy, he would give online incels a run for their money. So anyway, I was in charge of babysitting the newbies for the day as we just had a fresh copy of them whisk in. The retention rate was low and I was perhaps the one guy who worked on all areas at some point, so I had to train everyone. One newbie was Barbie. She was 16 and as much of a Barbie girl as you can get, complete with the shiny blonde hair and bubbly personality. She was on the till to my right and in comes JA. So she is busy taking his order when all of a sudden he decides to ask her for her number. Now I'm sure that she's used to it as she brushed it off and just said, "Sorry, I'm seeing someone, so would you like your meal large?" "Nah, I give large, I don't buy it," Jackass said as if he could impress her with his vulgarity. "Okay, so any sides?" she asked. She wasn't gonna break from the script purely out of discomfort, I think. At this point I was finished with my customer and turned my attention on this guy. "Depends, can I have you as my side? I would love to make a meal out of you," Jackass told her. The sheer cringe was uncomfortable for all of us except him. "You need me to step in?" I asked her. I'm okay, but you can stay near," she asked. "No worries," I told her. "Is this your boyfriend?" Jackass asked her. "No, but you're making me feel uncomfortable, sir." "You're like 10 years older than me and you're creeping on me," she told him. I think that she was hoping he would just realize what he was doing and give up. However, no such luck. "Honey, I'm your customer. This is part of customer service. You just give me your number and my order and I'll come back by later to pick you up," he replied. The sheer entitled attitude towards her was starting to annoy me and her. "Sir, I'm just gonna be blunt with you. I'm not gonna allow her to deal with you any further. You're going to either finish your order with me and it will be a takeaway, or you can leave now," I said. Barbie quickly took a step back from the till and let me take her place. "Hey, that's not cool. We are both guys here. No blocking me, man," Jackass exclaimed. He was actually angry because I would not let him hit on her. I told Barbie to go into the kitchen and grab a drink of water or something while I dealt with him. I honestly don't care if you think because we are both guys you're entitled to make my front counter team uncomfortable. You got a right to order food from here for now. However, if you continue with this behavior, I will simply have you leave, I told him, hoping that my stern voice was enough to get him to focus. However, it was not. So this guy continues with his order for a moment before redirecting his attention to Barbie, who had just popped her head out of the kitchen to see if she was in the clear, and he clicked on immediately when he noticed her. "Why can't you just take my order and give me your number? All I want to do is give you some," he shouted at her. She immediately fled as the manager on shift came out of the dry store after hearing the commotion. I immediately signaled them to call the security for the shopping center before turning back to the customer. "Sir, I'm gonna have to ask you to leave now as I don't feel comfortable with you even being in the same place as my colleague. Now please leave, I'm gonna cancel off everything for your order and you won't be served any further by any colleague here," I informed him. "I'm not leaving until I get your number. Do you even know who I am?" he said, as if knowing who he was would change my opinion on him. "No, but you're not harassing any of my colleagues for her number, so you can act like a big man. You look closer to my age than hers, and you should know that acting like this is inappropriate. I got no problems with a guy asking a girl for her number, but when she says no, it means no," I explained to him. "Since when? When a girl like this says no, you can simply pay her more money. It's the same here. When she says no, you keep asking until she says yes," he replied, as if this means he's in the right all of a sudden. A moment later, security just walked in. The manager walked out to point out to the customer who was still irate because he couldn't get a girl's number. I had already cancelled his order on the tills, but he was still refusing to leave until he got her number. Security just walked behind him and tapped him on the shoulder. "Sir, you will have to come with us," the security guard said. "But she hasn't given me her number yet," he told them. "And she won't. Now please leave," I told him. With this, he finally admitted defeat and skulked away. I don't know what made him think that he was entitled to her, but I'm just glad that she was protected properly. You can ask a girl out, but you cannot harass her if she says no. When Barbie left that day, she was driven home by one of the female members of staff who finished at the same time. She actually came back as well, and I made sure that she was okay to keep working on the tills before I put her back on them that day. I might call her Barbie, but she was a boss Barbie if anything. Good on her for not letting him shake her. I am a single bachelor myself, and I understand that flirting is okay so long as you don't act like an entitled jackass and mistreat someone who is not interested. Also, as a rule of thumb, when you're 25 plus, don't even bother hitting on a girl who is 16 and actually looked younger due to her baby face. That is just creepy, and my rule of thumb with age range is normally 6 years younger to 6 years higher. If you got a different one, that's fine, but don't be that creep. I don't know what people's opinions are on sexual harassment on here, but I hope that you all appreciate that you should never act like this to anyone ever. No one is entitled to date anyone. It's a privilege to have a partner in love and life, no matter how long it lasts. Anyone who needs assistance with dealing with any form of stalking, domestic abuse, sexual violence or harassment in the UK, I will post a couple of links to groups that help with this sort of issue. And yeah, Ripe Stars, I gotta say, I would have loved to have seen the police get involved in this case, but I guess especially in the UK, the police probably does not get involved in something like this. To be honest, after reading this story, I am sort of concerned about this girl's safety. Who knows if that guy might wait for her after work or come back when the manager is not there. However, I've heard in the news a couple of times that, especially in the UK, that unless something more serious happens, the police usually does not intervene for some reason or another. The next one is titled "The Most Entitled Karen Ever." I gave birth to my daughter on Tuesday and then was released on Thursday. On Thursday we saw our pediatrician after being released from the hospital. It turns out my daughter's bilirubin jaundice levels were highish. She was born at 37 weeks due to me having pre-eclampsia, so she's technically early to the doctors and they are being precautious in checking her levels don't get into a dangerous level. Since Thursday we've had to go to the pediatrician/hospital on the weekend since doctors' offices are closed to get her blood drawn to keep checking. On Saturday we had a doctor's order prescription to have her blood drawn at the lab, but had to be taken and wait in the ER. There were 3 to 4 people sitting in the ER when we arrived. Get checked in, my fiancé and I sit waiting to be registered. The ER desk worker recognized us from the other day, I guess from when I was in the hospital giving birth, and asked about us and my daughter. How she is, how many days she is, why she is here, etc. I would also like to point out that my daughter is extremely quiet for a newborn as well, literally never made a peep in the waiting room. The registration woman comes out with that rolling cart not even 2 minutes later, walks over to us and begins the process when old lady Karen pipes up, who was on the other side of the woman. "I've been waiting 2 hours. Check me in first." 1. That has to be completely false due to how quickly the woman came out to us and how dead the ER currently was. 2. She literally cut the woman off as she's asking us questions, which is rude regardless. Don't get me wrong, I can understand it being annoying, someone getting attention before you when you were there first, but there are nicer and politer ways of going about it. The registration woman gave the woman a look and then to me sympathetically. My daughter was not fuzzy or anything, so I had no problem waiting, gave her a small nod as if to say, I understand. And then the woman began checking in Karen. Only Karen did not speak to the woman, only shoved her paperwork into the woman's hand and sat quietly again. Once the registration woman was done, I think just confirming certain things due to her not needing anything from Karen, checked us in, thanked both my party and the woman, to which of course my fiancé and I thanked her back out of politeness. Karen glared over at the worker and us. After about 15 to 20 minutes, Karen told, not asked, told a worker to tell the ER receptionist that she's been waiting 2 hours and to call the lab technicians down again. The ER receptionist gets the message from the passing worker, gives Karen a look and proceeds to call/page the lab again while making a slightly annoyed sound. After a moment, the receptionist turned to my fiancé and I, apologizing to us, saying the technician would be down in a moment and that on Saturdays they only have one blood technician. A few minutes later, the very lovely technician came down and immediately came to us, helping us gather our stuff out of kindness. The receptionist made some sort of comment about Karen is also getting a lab done, to which the tech made an kind of sound. The feeling I got was the receptionist told the tech on the phone about Karen causing issues and that an infant was waiting. Well, good, you can follow us. My fiancé and I took an extra second to get the car seat picked up, diaper bag, etc. So Karen had a moment to stand with the tech who was complimenting us on our daughter, to which Karen said nicely but slightly smug, "Yeah, what a cute baby." We took a short walk to the lab area, Karen speed walking past us talking to the tech about how she doesn't even understand why she's here, she could be doing other things on a Saturday, she has been waiting 2 hours, etc. While the tech is nicely smiling and agreeing, apologizing that she's the only blood technician on the weekends, we approach the room, to which the tech turns, smiles smugly and tells Karen, "Ma'am, you can have a seat right here, you all can come right inside." Karen, "What?" "Yes ma'am, the seat's right here, we'll be done in just a minute." Karen huffed, giving my, again 4-day-old baby a look as if it is her fault that Karen was a complete and utter pain in the butt, making the receptionist and tech want to make her life even harder. Again, my daughter has not made a sound and was perfectly fine. Karen easily could have gone before us and both of us were here for blood to be drawn. But I guess Karen had to wait even longer due to her sucky attitude towards the staff. The next one is titled Rest in Peace, Car. This past Sunday I decided to take a track day at a regionally known drag strip during a no prep event. If you are not from the car scene, just Google what is no prep drag racing for a full understanding. My partner and I took 2 pickup trucks with 2 car trailers with 3 cars in them, along with tools, spare wheels with tires on them, etc. I brought my 1996 Honda Civic hatchback, which, without going full car nerd, has an engine swap and a lot of work done. It is quite fast for a Honda, but really just a toy. I also brought my Nissan Laurel, which is imported from Japan and was never sold in the United States. The car is primarily a drift car, but with 30 minutes of work it can be changed over to a drag setup. My buddy brought his 1996 Mitsubishi Eclipse GSX. We were running all day making small wagers with those at the track, and together we were up just over 20k on the day from wagers. Around 8 PM, with the track closing at 9 PM, I had the douchiest of chats approach me and engage in the typical smack talk about how my cars are slow and how incredible his car is, yada yada yada. After being goaded numerous times, declining a 10k raise and really just trying to pack up for the day, this douchebag decided to insult my wife in a rather derogatory and misogynistic way. The comments were both disgusting and about how a woman does not belong on a racetrack. And well, ripe stars, I would rather say douchebags don't belong on a racetrack. But anyway, I thought for a second before responding, and I then said to our entitled prick, "Since women don't belong on the racetrack, why don't you race her in the laurel?" EP, "10k bro, that's easy money, let's go." Me, no, if you are racing her, it's going to be for titles. Known in Hollywood as pink slips or just pinks. EP, "Hell yeah, I will take your car." Starts laughing and further insulting my wife to his cronies. We shook hands, pulled out paperwork and found a track official to hold both sets of paperwork before getting ready for the run. One single 1/4 mile race for both cars. The tree turned green and they blew off the line. EP pulled slightly ahead out of the gate and you could just feel the misogynistic comments he was saying to himself as he flew down the track. About halfway down the track, wife caught up to him and surpassed him, finishing the race with enough room to parallel park an F-250 between them. Wife pulls back into our stall, smiling and laughing, excited over her win as it was only her third pass on the track for the day. I went to the staff member to collect paperwork without problem and then went over to EP's stall to collect our car. As we turned the corner into the stall, EP yelled, "F no, I'm not giving my car to a woman. She got lucky. 2 out of 3. F this." All of EP's friends were laughing at him and making the her you got beat by a girl jokes that were popular in middle school. I noticed the keys were still in the car, so I quickly reached into the car and snatched them. After grabbing the keys, I was sucker punched by EP and I did defend myself. I did not engage in a full-on brawl, merely defended myself after giving it one good swing. Track officials separated us and EP started screaming to staff that I was trying to steal his car and saying he was going to call the police. You see, in my state, all bets are legal at the track as it is no different than betting on a horse. Taxes are paid on the bet. In the event of a slip race, taxes are paid on the vehicle through the DMV. EP's threat of police held no power. EP continued to scream for another 15 minutes, not letting anyone else get a word in. Finally, the owner of the track came by and ordered EP off the property, or he would call the police for a trespass order. Owner also informed EP that he was banned from the track for the rest of the year. We returned to our stall with the keys in hand and waited for EP to leave. Having no choice, EP left without the car. This morning I was served with a $100,000 lawsuit from EP. Turns out EP had taken a $100,000 loan to build this race car and still owes almost all of it. According to his suit, the loan was taken in July of last year. EP not only lost the race fair and square which he knowingly bet his car on, but decided to litigate against me, not wife. I can only assume this is due to EP's blind rage and misogyny. Before anyone asks, EP lost a 1969 Pontiac GTO. Oh my god, guys, with a specialty engine in it from Texas Speed and a whole lot of other engine upgrades. The engine alone retails for $45,000. Checking the price of a stock 69 GTO, they seem to be anywhere between 60 to 70k. So I would assume this car is worth $75,000 to $80,000. I'll be posting photos of the wife and cars in the comments as I wouldn't be allowed to embed links in the post. This douchebag is going to be a gigantic headache, I can already tell. Any advice would be appreciated. And with this, we have reached the end of the video. However, if you cannot get enough of my content, then please don't forget to check out my endless playlist, which has thousands of videos and hours of content. In addition, please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on the bell to not miss any of my daily uploads. Thank you so much, and I will see you again tomorrow.